Guys, we made it. We're on our last video. Okay. Might not be as big a deal for you, but I've recorded a whole lot of videos in the last month. I'm excited to be done. I'm also excited because you're learning so much, and I'm very proud of you. So let's keep this going. We're going to finish today. Today we're finishing with geometric series. So again, we're just kind of rolling right along from where we've been. We're dealing geometrics, so our numbers are going to get bigger pretty quickly. There's some real world stuff to this. YouTube videos, especially just kind of watching those things grow and watching the amount of people that watch a video each day and kind of working with that. That's definitely a geometric series that's happening. Kind of reading through that top part there, you can kind of see it. All right, so geometric series, let's see how this works. So here we go. To find a geometric series, again, remember what a series is. It's just adding up all of the different values of a geometric sequence. So let's start up here. Suppose you text a rumor to a friend on Monday. So you send somebody a rumor to 3 friends on Monday. And then each of those friends send that same rumor to 3 more friends on Tuesday. And then each of those people send it to 3 more friends, and so on. Okay, notice that each day you got 1 people, and then 3 people, and then 9, and then 27. How many people know that rumor in 8 days? Well, on the 8th day, 2,187 people know it. But how many people know it all together? Well, you'd have to add all of these numbers together. You would find a series there. 3,280 people know your secret. So that's how rumors spread. That is a geometric sequence and a geometric series. The sequence is the pattern of the numbers. The series is the final number. We can use a formula to find geometric series. Looks like this. Nothing you haven't seen there before. The biggest deal today is parentheses. And again, if that ratio is negative, putting that thing in parentheses is going to be pretty important. So find the sum of the first n terms. Find the sum of the first 5 terms of a geometric series. So we're finding sum of the first 5 terms. It is geometric, so because it's geometric, I'm using this formula. A sub 1 is going to be 4, and my r is going to be -3. When I'm raising that to a power like that, you have to put it in parentheses. That -3 is going to be in parentheses as I set that thing up. My n is 5 because I'm finding the 5th term. And on bottom, I've got 1 minus -3. Well, 1 minus -3 becomes 1 plus 3. So you can kind of mess around with this. I don't really like messing it around, so I'm just going to type it right into my calculator here. You got to be careful. Depending on what kind of calculator you use, there's going to be a whole different lots of different ways of doing this thing. If you don't have the best calculator, I would strongly suggest using Desmos, but you would have to put kind of all of that in parentheses if you have a yucky calculator. It's better to type it in like that. So I'm going to show you how to do that here on Desmos real quick, just so we can see it. Sorry, it's not doing what I want it to. All right, there we go. So if I'm typing this in on Desmos, I'm typing it in just what I see right here. So I'm putting 4 parentheses, 1 minus another set of parentheses, -3. I'm going to close that parentheses. I'm going to raise it to the 5th power. And then I'm going to close that parentheses. Oh, well, see, I got to go down out of there. I'm going to close that parentheses. But that's all on top of this fraction. So now I'm going to put another parentheses around this whole thing. And then divide by 1 plus 3. So I'm going to divide by 4. Notice that that top part needs to be all on top of the fraction. Just depending on your calculator, it will give you different things. But my answer is 244. Okay, a little bit kind of funky to type that thing in. I wish it was better. If you don't like doing all of those parentheses, I would suggest you finding this top number and then finding this bottom number and then dividing them. That might be a little bit easier. If we wanted to check that number, we could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're doing 5 terms. The first one is 4. My ratio is -3. So if my first term is 4, and then I'm going to multiply by -3, so it'd be -12. And then I would multiply that by -3, so it'd be 36. I multiply that by -3, so it's going to be -108. And then I'm going to multiply that by -3, so 108 times 3, 324. And if I wanted to find the series, I would take all those numbers and add them together. So I know it's hard to see on your up there, but 4 plus negative 12 plus 36 plus negative 108 plus 324. Where did that guy come from? Man, last video and I'm just all over the place. Of course I am. Let's hit enter. 244, the same thing we got by using the formula. Using the formula is easier, but you could do it the long way if you really wanted to. If you could trace back your family for 15 generations, starting with your parents, how many ancestors would there be? So understand what we're doing. So we've got our formula. This is a geometric series formula. It's geometric because each generation you go back, you're going to multiply by 2. Because your mom and dad, no matter where they started off, you had a mom and dad, and then you had each of them had 2 parents. Okay, they had a mom and a dad, and they had a mom and a dad, and they had a mom and a dad. I'm talking just genealogically. Okay, so when we set that thing up, it's going to have 2 times back each time, and we're talking genealogically. All right, so a sub 1, how many people were in our first generation? Well, there were 2, your mom and your dad. Okay, and then 1 minus my ratio. My ratio is going to be 2 because I'm doubling each time I go back a generation. My n is going to be 15 because I'm going back 15 generations. And then on bottom, it's 1 minus 2. What is my sum? My sum is the sum of the first 15 terms. So that is what I'm trying to type into my calculator. So I'm going to do it a different way this time, just so you can see it, what it would look like if I was doing it on a calculator. So I'm going to go 2 parentheses 1 minus 2 to the 15th power. That's the top fraction. And then I'm going to take that number. I'm going to take that number and divide it by negative 1 because on bottom I had 1 minus 2. So my answer is I have 65,534 relatives. Okay, so 65,534. That's a lot of people. Okay, sometimes it's always amazing when someone's like, oh, yeah, my great uncle was Abraham Lincoln. Well, yeah, or not great uncle, great, 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 great uncle. Yeah, there's a lot of people in your history. Okay, when you go up the genealogical tree, everybody's parents had parents, had parents, had parents. It gets pretty big pretty fast. So just something to be aware of. Find the sum of the geometric series. So just written a little bit different. S sub 6. So we're finding the sum of the first 6 terms. We do a sub 1. So 1 times 1 minus my ratio. So my ratio here, it looks like I'm multiplying by 5 each time. Yeah, 3125. So I need to somehow figure out what term it is. Oh, I know. It's the 6th term. Don't have to get that fancy there. And then 1 minus 5 on bottom because it's 1 minus the ratio. All I got to do is type that into my calculator. So it's 1 times 1 minus 5 to the 6th power. And I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to divide it by negative 4 because it's 1 minus 5 on bottom. I get 3,906. 3,906. So not a whole lot bigger than that number right there because the terms before it really aren't that large. Here's 1, 2, 3. The first 3 terms is only 31. And I'm only going to 6 terms. So it makes sense that it's not a whole lot bigger than that last one. Let's do a couple more. S sub 8. And we're doing a sub 1. I'm just going to set it up. I don't need to type this on my calculator, I think. A sub 1 is 1. 1 minus my r. It looks like I'm multiplying by 2 each time. Finding the 8th, the sum of the first 8 terms. So it's that. All divided by 1 minus my ratio. And my ratio is 2. So I'm going to type that in. 1 parentheses. 1 minus 2 to the 8th. I'm going to take all of that. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to divide that by negative 1 because it was 1 minus 2 on bottom. I get 255. Next one. So I've got this whole pattern. This one, don't use a formula for that. Just type it in. Negative 1 plus 3, that's 2. Minus 9 would get me negative 7. I'm going to do this the long way, huh? 2 minus 9 gets me negative 7. Plus 27 gets me 20. Minus 81 gets me negative 61. Boom. That is the sum of all these numbers. Any of these other ones, I'll do one last one here, but none of these are tough. Once you get going, it's just a matter of plugging it in. So again, I'm finding S sub 8 because I'm finding the sum of the first 8 terms is equal to A sub 1 times 1 minus R to the n power, all divided by 1 minus R. So 1 minus my R, which is 0.5. All right, let's try it. So 1 parentheses, 1 minus my R to the 8th power. That's on top, and I'm going to divide all of that by 1 minus my R, 1 minus 0.5. I type it in, hit enter. 1.992 is going to be my final answer there. So we have now gotten through everything. We have done quite a bit of stuff in this course. I wish we could go deeper in a lot of concepts, but a lot of times in Algebra 2, we're trying to explore a little bit of each one. If you're interested in something, the internet's a wonderful place. Go explore. If you love probability, go look more at probability. If you love sequence and series, go find a little bit more. We've taught you the basics. These types of things will help you. You're now ready for the SAT, ACT. The SAT and the ACT go through technically Algebra 2. So you've seen all of the different math type questions now that you would need to be successful there. Doesn't mean you're perfect at it. If you're getting ready for that, might want to practice some more, but you're now at least introduced to all those topics. If you have any more questions, please see me. If you're working your way through the class, now is the time. Once you've completed this, you want to contact me to get ready for the final exam. You have to have that proctored by somebody, so talking to me about that first would be helpful to all of us. Hope you're doing wonderful. Get this quick check finished up. Check Khan Academy, check Quizzes, ask me questions, but congrats, you're almost there. Finish this thing up and earn your credit. Thanks, guys.